Anton Newcombe from brand Jonestown Massacre not only makes groundbreaking, thrilling, psychedelic music that really does blow your mind, he also has deeply felt opinions on nearly everything.
For real artists and creatives and smart people, they do some dumb things. They're like imperfect humans.
Right.
All that stuff. You got to live with all of it. It's a whole package. Finding a balance is very difficult. Even when you have such a great balance, you got it over hanging over everybody who's not living's head. It's still, man, those swings, you know.
I guess being in balance, does that make good art though? Is that the curse?
It's not for me to decide, you know. Like I just do what I do because I love to do it, right? So, and it makes me feel better, you know. Whether it's you know, like right now, I gotta focus on a record, but it's also a time in my boy's life where he needs me. So that drags. You know, there's all kinds of things always, right?
Yeah.
I'm a strange person too. You know, like to be honest, you know, everybody I ever fell in love with for real, I'm still in love with. That's that. You know, I don't know about you, but that's like a typical thing, and not everybody feels that. Like you know, certain people they walk through life with different feelings and ways to compensate and get in and out of all these tricky things because you think this is that and the other, and some people suppress it and some people don't, you know, and all that other kind of shit, right?
Yeah. You just have to embrace what you are though, don't you?
Well, ultimately you got to be true to yourself, but it might mean that you're a motherfucker to everybody else, right? I mean, to history, like because we see how critical people are now, you know, about everything, and that's their right, right? I mean, that's how they want to view the world. Uh, these are just hard times, I think, for people, you know, and I want to be in tune with that. This is just the beginning of the shit. It's not. It's not. It's not the end of it. You know, like you get through these little milestones. Like I picked a really great place to be, right, in Germany. Evidently, this is one of these great places where they got this history that forces them to deal with certain things in a certain way, and they got bread, and they're civic minded for the most part. You know, well, there's a large part of the population that is going to be respectful. You know, when they police the people that don't, they got to be respectful of the history. So there's all that stuff that's great, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't make you feel better when you see these places. When you get, you know, I travel the world. You know, I know people in Chile. I don't want to see people having food riots. And I flew in there, and it was like a 35-minute drive through the favelas. Those people don't have shit to begin with. To be told they can't have anything with everything, you know, it breaks my heart. And the UK, you know, like so.
Yeah. We've been hijacked by the pound shot Trumps. Yeah.
Well, you know, these, you know, we don't want to get too far into politics because this is all incinerary. Like it's this is a powder keg. But you know, some of these governments didn't want to get hawked into the future over the shit. You know, and some governments said, well, we can't pay for these people. You already knew they weren't paying for the pensions and all this shit, looking out for everybody with the hospitals and everything in the changing world to begin with the infrastructure and education and all this shit. And you look at the high streets and all this stuff. So it stands to reasons they're like, well, we could lose some of these people to begin with, you know? So that was the attitude, anyways, in many of these countries, you know, to
Yeah.
go it alone. Like, and the people that would figure it out, you know, got the information. Other people were just like left terrified, and it breaks my heart, you know. And these are dangerous times because you can't really speak openly, and people didn't get the memo. But you know, the world went fascist, and it's a new kind of thing. So everybody's looking for the remedy that doesn't exist anymore, you know. But in all these countries, you know, it's the republicanism and the money force behind it Um, and it doesn't even mean what we think it means when I say it's a republicanism. You know, if you look like the power of Fox Media or something, in the the political will behind that, it's something way beyond that. It's like, you know, there's a lot of people that believe the world would be better off with less people. And I don't want to get into David Icke territory or any of this crap or anything, but a lot of people believe that's the only solution, you know, else you would see action in these places, you know, all over the world, right? There's, you know, we look at like Corona. I don't know what your objectives were in the conversation, but you look at like Corona and all this shit, and that's nothing, man. They got locusts, and this all leads to famine. When they talk about the butchers and the farmers and people getting out in the fields and picking, this all leads to hunger and hardship. You know, they talk about millions of jobs uh, being out of whack, and you see what we have, and everybody being in the same boat. I mean, my the old people in my family, they basically told me about those hard times. You know, in the depression. And in the same way that, you know, your family might have told stories about the Blitz or what that was like, I heard the stories about before that. It's serious shit.
Yeah.
And I know how California was, and I know it's California was like Children of Men minus the can't get pregnant and people smashing the museums up, you know, and the autistic children. It's the same thing. They're beating people up at the borders and anything they can
It's
do.
a
And we're
mixture.
seeing it. We're
It's
seeing it.
cynicism and incompetence mixed together from the
And
government.
and my heart travels the opposite way because I really care about people as much as a misanthropist as I could be. You know what I mean? In my core, almost.
Where does rock and roll fit into this?
Well, I just do what I do, you know, because I consider myself a folk musician, a person of the people. You know, I just really wanted to stake my claim on in the pantheon, and not in this imaginary thing like, oh cool, he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or some shit, you know, or getting Brit Awards or being on magazines. I knew all that stuff was temporary, and I also knew it could be reversed. Like if you have enough power, the Rolling Stones took Brian right out of the picture, and he was the one on every cover.
Mm.
You know, Greg Shaw had a folder of Brian's covers and articles about Brian, how cool he was.
Oh, by a mile. By a mile.
No, Brian Jones.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He was miles ahead, wasn't he? Yeah.
They didn't want to see those ugly guys. And
Especially,
I think the young Keith is cute. I think not as cute as Mick. You know, Mick and Ecstasy and all that stuff. I think they're all cute guys, right? But
Brian had the style, didn't he?
I don't even see Brian as being like this thing that way. But boy, everybody else did.
Yeah.
You know.
Especially in '67 when he was at the peak of his.
But even before that, when he came out, everybody was just like, "Whoa!" But I just think, you know, David Bowie used to cut his hair like him and come to the shows early and just pick up birds. You know, it's like 13-year-old girls that didn't know any better, just go fuck him in the alley or whatever he was doing, diddling. But I think that isn't why I wanted to do music. You know, I love music. And I love that thing that we all create together, and that could be a sad thing. That all has to go away because of business and the reality of this COVID shit and the way it creeps so slowly. And this isn't even the only one, you know. Like the future's fraught with danger, and this is all just like silly when you think about people trying to make ends meet for the day. You know, all the different hardships.
You can only deal with what's in front of you. You know, I mean, you're here. To me, you're like one of the last surviving flames of what rock and roll or folk, whatever you want to call it, what it was about in the '60s. The idealism, the tainted idealism.
It goes back farther than that, you know. But some people want to be famous and liked and all that stuff, and I don't give a damn, a good goddamn, about being liked. I do love when we all come together, and it feels a little bit better. And I think if I have to put my finger on it, people like the Stone Roses and still like them because they feel a little bit better. And it's less about uh, Ian's swagger and how fucking cool he was. And I wish that more people got that.
I think the swagger was part of it as well. The
He
tunes
doesn't
are
know, but he all goes away. He's like an old guy, you know?
yeah, yeah. I think he gave people confidence and empowerment, which is important, like the Sex Pistols did as well.
Yeah,
So,
but life sucks, and I don't see like urban culture getting that. You know, like giving Tupac a bunch of money to get shot isn't what it's about. You know, like your moment in the papers or whatever, all that shit. You know, or even growing old. You know, it's like I hate that thing of people like getting shitty. You know, that
well,
bugs the shit out of me.
you mean losing the magic as they get older, or
But they just do it themselves, you know? I just see that most people do it themselves. Look how ripping Steven Stills was on guitar. He's like one of those guys that people don't understand how good he was. Part of it is because his choices of music as he went along, but he's like a phenomenal player. He's one of those guys. You know, he just chose to do what he did with his life. And some of those guys, you know, they all just chose to like take an easy way, you know, and the whole selling your soul. I always thought it was an interesting tack to take of just saying no and just keep doing what you're doing. And if you just keep getting people into what you're doing, then you're going to be bigger than you ever were as some has been. Because I don't need to be as big as Rick Astley to be made a joke of reoccurring or dragged into conversation or hit up by somebody. And I turned down a lot of interviews about all kinds of shit. You know, I could care less what people think are propelling my me forward. Yeah, and I'm completely blessed about a lot of things. I hear people bitch about digital, and I hear people bitch about vinyl and all that stuff, and you don't even know. You know, I got my shit together, but you know, it's not just lucky being fortunate. I set out to defeat all these motherfuckers and stood up to all of them. And everybody's ridicule about being nuts and uh, a whole movie where they just basically edited people saying, look at him fucking throwing every single deal down the toilet when none of those people have a job and all of them are bitching. Every single person was in the charts is fucked and I have more money than all of them, even
yeah,
in hard times, you know, by doing work that I did in my 20s, by saying no to people who are still making that money. They're making it off the analytics and they make it off the Spotify deals. And it, just to put it, yeah, just to put, you know, I'm not bragging, but just to put it into perspective, I had enough money to pay the fucking lawyers to fight people that did nothing, you know, and it's more expensive than the people that signed those publishing deals made. The amount of money I spent on fucking lawyers is more money than any of my mates, anybody we know, made from their publishing deals that got their fucking flats. And that's a fact.
do,
And
do, you,
that's sad.
do you
It's
think?
just,
Do you find the circus sometimes almost detracts from the creativity?
well, I wish that it was back a little bit like when it looked like we were just kicking ass, right? As 89 was flowing into 90, it looked like anything could happen, and they just killed us dead. Because it also looked like there was going to be another cultural revolution. There was more kids and young people and people of the median age going, we're just doing what we want again. It was more threatening than the 60s. And they just
Mm.
said, this is fucking urban and this is that, and then just killed it all off. They bought up every fucking independent label and destroyed the record industry. Worse than disco. And I watched it happen. It was just like bullshit, you know? And
How do you maintain your independence then? With the lawyers, with determination, with vision?
well, I hang in and bite the bullet because, you know, because it costs a lot of money to deal with with people that are continuously fucking with me, but I have to deal with the American law system, legal system. So it's not cool.
No.
Because anybody can say anything, and you have to pay to defend yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, but that's not the focus of this conversation, anyways. I'm not bitching and moaning. It's just like, because anybody ever played in can just like throw in a claim. They can just say whatever they want. Or anybody that's ever done anything. It's just like, blah, blah, blah. And I was never the kind of guy that was like, fuck, here's a contract, get out of here, to everybody who ever walked into my house or where I was staying or a session. That's why people do that. But I always thought that was so fucked.
I think the real measure is what they do when they're not working with you.
It's just people are people. They're going to do what they're going to do, right?
I think it's a misunderstanding that you're actually a band when, in a way, you're a vision, really, aren't you?
Well, I was perfectly happy to do the band thing, but just the reality of certain people's minds, they don't make other people always feel good in that situation. I think, like, if you find yourself in a band with somebody who has like some kind of universal mind going on, like is thinking symphonically, and you're just trying to learn, you're just trying to do your thing, you're just fucking 19 years old or some shit, it really cramps your style, because you really want to, you got your ego and you've got all this stuff, you want to be known for doing stuff, and your goal may be just getting fucking laid, and it might not be writing 6 albums in a fucking year or some shit.
Do you think a band is only a concept that works when people are 19, about gang against the world? To me, it seems ridiculous notion for older people.
Here you are playing in a band.
And that's why I know the answer to the question.
I don't think it is. If you love playing music, then just fucking play music. It's pretty simple. I thank the Lord for Howlin' Wolf. Like, I don't know what that was. He's an artist, okay? But he was fucking mopping floors, and he was 59 before any of that shit came out. And it would just be a tragedy if everything was left to these stupid teenagers. Because when it's hot, it's shit hot. But when it's not, it's not. And, I've always seen just a ton of people trying to do things. And that's great, because when they try to do things, that it weeds out people and some people rise above, And a lot of times producers help them reach that next level because it seems hot. So they find it in the studio or something. They grow. Jagz created Kasabian, made him something more than an Oasis cover band. I mean, Clubfoot is just like amazing, right? It's all of a sudden, it doesn't matter if you hate them or it doesn't matter, right? It's just like, that's something, right? Something out of.
They're far better than people think.
But it's good. It's all good. It's all good stuff. Some of it is. The industry stuff isn't. The hoo-ha isn't. But it's all good if it's making people feel good, I think sports are a waste of time, but it's a really good thing if everybody's out with their mates having a great time. The pure stuff is really good, I think. And it's a hard life. But the music thing is deep. It can be real deep. And we live in shallow times. And I think like Sun Ra nailed it. I think musicians have dropped the ball, because they're the ones that are supposed to inspire people to fucking move around and do all this shit. And it's not just by being entertainers. It's just like you're supposed to move people in some way, because you're moved. It's supposed to have that knock-on effect. And having all these other considerations, like, oh, this is supposed to pay my rent, or it's supposed to do whatever, I'm supposed to change people's haircuts, or whatever the fuck you're doing, has gotten in the way of that to such a degree that that's what you're seeing the consequence of, weak ass shit. And it's not just about being pigs, or fat white family. there's all kinds of things, man. I see all kinds of bands. You know, I seen Fugazi and all that kind of stuff. And Fugazi was trying to do crossover when from Minor Threat, it broadened their horizons, and PIL was broadening their horizons from Sex Pistols. It's not all about one thing, you know. It's about PIL was also, besides sticking to the corporations and being a corporation, evidently sticking to the band members eventually in court. It was about what Johnny wanted to do with other people, I think, you know, and incorporating a lot of his influences more than just being one-dimensional puppet show.
It was a brilliant moment, a brilliant tear in the fabric, but he's working with the right people.
But it really hit me hard in the right way, because I picked up on that.
Yeah.
See, I picked up on it in all the right ways, because from the effect, see, there's nothing that he could explain to me, because Keith was just talking in riddles on Schneiderman and all that stuff. It was evident that they were becoming an incorporation, right? Because that's what they said, PIL Ltd, you know? But the music is what wins you over ultimately, and then you can figure out all that shit, or you may not even feel it matters, but I feel like that record really matters still to me, and that's enough. And I'm not the only one that name drops that shit. A lot of people do.
Greatest records ever made, and it's amazing. They took all these 16-year-old kids on that trip.
Yeah, and acid was 50 cents.
You could have very hard to get in England in those days, but it's a psychedelic record as well. You know,
it was really a psychedelic experience. You know, it really a psychedelic experience. It's like one of those roller coasters where you have no idea you're gonna.
Psychedelia is not purely a 60s paisley form, is it? Well, like people think.
No, it's just mind expanding, and it certainly did that. You know, but a lot of people find that too squirrely and intimidating. There's too much tension in that album for them to enjoy. He's all the caterwaul, but that's fine too. But it once again, it's effect. You know, like it's just also validating the Black and multiracial experiences in London, or what the Caribbean people brought to culture.
Mm.
See, it sucks when white people have to do that, but occasionally they do. To make everybody.
Again, it's one of the great things about music. It's cultural crossroads. You bring stuff in.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
For whatever reasons, Black people didn't have that kind of international reach as far as the media goes. You know, and that Richard Branson and all these other fucking people, or whoever, Chris Carter, and over again, people that hook into something deep, you know, bring it even farther, because Bob Marley would have never reached all the people he reached either without Chris Carter. Not Chris Carter.
Blackwell.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, and it was great what Bob Marley always had the process started, but with Pill, it opened up dub to a legion of 16-year-olds, and they signed a lot of those guys up and they got the payday, didn't they?
It was like taking Roxy Music and everything a step farther, just being inclusive to be what you want, whether you're gay or whatever. It kicks open the door for new romanticism in every single thing. It's just the culture of expressing yourself and demanding that space that you have to see, which is the exact opposite of conforming for an imaginary demographic that you think is going to succeed because you need your fucking rent paid, or you don't feel comfortable living by your mom and dad's rules, or whatever the fuck it is that people are doing. I don't know, because a lot of bands in the UK, those people have always been well looked after by their families. Not everybody comes from a sort of, we call it a latchkey kids home. Your parents work or something and there's no supervision, or you don't have a pop to kick your ass, an extended family.
Yeah. mean, you were a latchkey kid, weren't you?
Yeah. You know, and I don't know what it is, but like I said, it's misanthropy, but from when I was 6, I didn't want to be like anybody I ever met. And it started with adults because I wanted to figure out why they were unhappy, and they're unhappy because they weren't doing what they wanted to do. So I decided to only do what I wanted to do and fight like somebody was trying to rape me, you know, to the death, if need be, to be myself and do what I want to do. And that means homework and everything because of the stress. It just meant school, friends. It didn't mean everything. Nothing meant anything to me. And you could say that, well, that's like some magical potion that you throw all together and you're going to be a serial killer. But guess again, I'm not, you know.
Did you find any happiness though, or was it just a different type of unhappiness?
Yeah, you know what? It's really easy to speculate on everybody, speculate on other people's lives. You know, I'm happy about a lot of things, but you know, I have my moments, right? But I knew it would be hard, but it's the only life that I could expect. So I just didn't want to be my mom or dad, you know, and my friends. Man, I grew up around so many people with so much affluence, right? Everybody had nothing to want. We had a punk rock club, legendary down the street, the Cuckoo's Nest. You can watch docs on it. We had 999. We had every fucking band you can imagine playing there. Right as they came out in America, that's where they played. It was less than a block away from my mom's pad. And man, they all ended up dead, just fucking weirded out. Just not people that you would admire. They're not like me and you at all. Like, look at you doing what you want to do. You're not hurting nobody. You know, you're actually a role model for people that want to do things. Whether they don't have to dress like you, but if they want to get into journalism, but on many different levels, you're not hurting anybody. Look how fucking weirded out everybody was about us being individuals. And here they are with all their problems they got now, the world. And it's kind of like Vietnam War. It's like, look at all those people that were protesting Southeast Asia. And look at the fucking messes we still got now. It's like my whole life they've been moaning about, white people have been moaning about doing this and that in Africa, and jack shit has been done because we still got all the same problems. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like crazy. My whole fucking life, man, I heard so much shit. You gotta just want.
Think when you look at someone like Donald Trump, you think, fucking hell, he is actually a rock and roll president in all the worst aspects of rock and roll.
People have a lot of funny ideas about me. You know, I'm civic minded, and that guy kills so many feelings. You know, when people are having riots, people are on the edge of that shit now. Some days in the UK, you know what I mean? It just seems like that I just have to check out with their conversations because I'm so civic minded. You know, that guy. It's just like shit doesn't have to be this way. You know, it just kills me to watch people dying about over all this shit and saying it's okay, or you can't imagine like being taught like all this garbage about this, that, and the other, what it felt. I mean, I don't have my passport with me today to read you all these things that I had to sign to get this thing that they're expecting me to do and uphold. Their suggestions and their quotes. The first one that England always stamps says, "Let us raise a standard that wise men can repair." That means when they founded fucking America and raised a flag, it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
They said, let's just put the fucker up, and the wise people, right, can fix it, can repair it. And it ain't happening. Yeah. It's not happening.
You're going to teach the savages. That's what they thought.
There's so much shit, man. It says it's up to me. I have a special passport. See, it's a grade up from the normal one. Like I walked right through with everybody, in the UK and not go through anything. And it says all kinds of stuff like it's up to us to help open people's minds to get a view of a new world. And there's a picture of like Voyager. See the shit that they sent out to communicate with other worlds. And I want to tell you a little story about me being in class when I was like second grade, and the teacher's almost crying and just saying, the world's overpopulated and polluted, and it's really up to you children to save it. I'll be too old, but it is up to you children. And I had special education and stuff. They're just crying, basically, pleading with us to understand the gravity of the challenges that we face and what's expected of us. And that's just one level of it. And just to see everybody the way they are, it's just batshit crazy, because I would have never thought of it. Even in my individualism, I would have never, ever seen people being this way. And I can only call it for what it is. They're just being used. It is fascism. I know the playbook that Russia and the internet and America are using, where the information's everywhere and people are confused, so they tune it out or they lock into something, and with the analytics they can see who's into what and who talks to who, and then they just fucking can harvest them every which way they wish, but and manipulate the data. But more importantly, everybody's screaming into the void to their little channels that get smaller, because you can't talk to everybody on the internet. You can't talk to this person, that person, because everything's contained. So on Twitter, you're contained with your little set, and it never really grows. I mean, I know how many people know me, where I go. I've watched numbers and was involved with the internet before anybody. I know how it works. Just chose to live my life the way I do. Mm-hmm. It's not like stupid to what they're fucking doing. Here, one of the big problems is a lot of these fucking idiots. What you had the problem with Dominic is you get these guys who study a few things, right? And they talk to a few people, and then they're talking to people that vaguely understand when they're being told about a powerful tool. And it's no different than snake oil Lotharios. You've got this quest for power. You got somebody who didn't really have power, but boy, they tuned into something that looked like an opportunity in school. Mm-hmm. And some other people just got them in on it. And without this shit that you fucking need in society, people like that go bad quick. Mm. Because they let their fear and their exceptionalism, like I know something that you don't, bullshit attitude, make fucking poor decisions that don't need to be made. And it happens, and it's happening. And I don't mean to single him out, but you just see this shit over and over again, And I look at that as poor leadership, because I think that it is a tough call. On the one hand, you have people in society that have not maybe contributed as much in some ways as they should have, right? But the contempt for faceless people and making that call where you just lump everybody faceless into each lot like that is fucking mad, statistical, genocidal, fucking maniac, pathological fucking bullshit that I'm not down with.
Do you think in the 60s it was easy?
Am I making sense?
Well, actually, yeah. In the 60s...
Wait, largely?
the battle lines were drawn, weren't they? Because you had
Well, look at it like this. If you go, well, a bunch of these fat ass gammon-headed fucking guys that put us in power that don't take care of their health and we can't afford to fucking fix them at the hospital, they can fucking die from COVID-19. Fuck them. We can, or we could just fucking owe a bunch of money to the IMF because we don't have it, or borrow it off of whoever. You know, a lot of these decisions, instead of getting fucking gear like Korea, investing in some bullshit, so only 618 people die, with how many millions of people do they got?
About the same as UK, isn't it? About 70, I think.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So you look at this kind of situation we had an aging population, all this shit. So let's not even use UK, but let's use any of these populations. You know, it's like you gotta wonder. It's just like that kind of statistical shit hurts my feelings a little bit.
Do you think the West is in some terminal decay here? You know, it's not capable of dealing.
It doesn't have to be that way, because you know, like an optimistic chappie would just say that it's piss poor mismanagement, right? And it's like this kind of thing. It's this fear about the future, and then getting somebody's ear about the best way to deal with it when they're talking about heady ideas that you don't really understand, whether it's any of this shit. It could be the people, you know, a lot of people take issue with Extinction Rebellion people because a lot of the solutions just aren't even thought out. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about planting trees and carbon capturing or anything. But one thing's for certain, on a lot of different levels, it's we find these truths self-evident where people can work together harder and they can try to understand more, from leadership down, especially as an example. And that was the issue with Dominic. It's just like asking people to fucking do this, right, and not doing it. And the bottom line is, he could have fucking called a goddamn caravan to his house with a whole fucking family in 1 second and be motored up to wherever he had to be. And if it would have come out, he could have said, that's what I had to do, and that's how I did it. And nobody would have been pissed.
It's the incompetence and the arrogance.
It is. It's the piss poor fucking weirdness. It's so weird.
His whole ticket is he's like this arch manipulator. And they found him yesterday editing a blog for about a year ago, 6 months ago. And anybody can find he's edited his blog. I mean, you think if you're an arch manipulator, you would know that. You could get caught.
It's this misunderstandings, but the arrogance, like you said, it's just the arrogance. But the thing is the people that listen to these people, you know, it just doesn't have to be this way. They don't got to rile everybody up. Like hard times or whatever, it just doesn't have to be this way. I know the world is facing a lot of like serious matters. But
So
when if I want to talk about it.
So for a musician, what's your role now? Is you just create a world to go and sort of retreat into?
Well, they changed all the laws. You know, they basically lock you up for talking about a lot of this shit. You know, because like in some societies, it's like the Soviet model, where if you're a person of a certain status and you don't get your shit together, then it's basically like it's a form of insanity that you would dare speak out against the state.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I have a family, I'm supposed to be looking after them, not talking to you about the world. So, I mean, that's one side of that. I just don't think anybody's prepared for what's going down, because it's all knock-on effect, and it's not even started, man. The kind of trouble they got going, it's just, see, everybody's making their moves. Not that you want to dwell on this stuff. As a musician, I can change the subject, but it ain't just COVID. Every country's already made its move. Like, you don't even get the news about it. Everybody's just doing their fucking thing. Even Iran's fucking sending gasoline to Venezuela. Everybody's making their fucking moves. See, every country. Like, you got Israel saying we're just going to take the West Bank. Every country's making their fucking move. So you haven't even seen shit yet.
So when you're getting creative, do you have to switch the side of your brain this to the kind of magical creative side, or do they kind of meet in the middle?
Well, yeah, but the thing is, part of it's mysticism. So the thing is I'll just keep going and going and going. So it's important to like call time on it every now and then it's very hard to get back because I'm technically aware that everybody shits out at some point, and I don't want it to be that way. I don't know if that's ego, but I do realize that people only get as far as they get. My examples in life is people only go as far as they go with their quality levels, and also, you know, I always get this feelings like, fuck, who gives a shit? It doesn't even matter if I make something that's absolutely fucking phenomenal, man. People don't give a fuck. I mean, the people that care, but it stands the test of time, which is very cool. But when you live in times like these, that matters less and less. I mean, it matters in the sense that people are at home, locked down, and they're like, "Your records, man, that means something to me, even at work or at home." But I'm a weirdo, you know. Like Tim's doing his thing with online with all
The albums, yeah.
You know, you asked me about that, and I was like, well, I don't even know what I would do. I don't even, you know, I don't even think about music that way. Maybe other people have to figure that out. Because you know, I have plenty ability to talk about where I was at and what everything means more than most people because I can see things really accurately. But it went nowhere, you know. Like I feel stupid. Like he's doing Lloyd Cole and all this shit. I don't know.
I mean, I can't imagine you're a person who goes back over your old records that much.
I don't, but sometimes I listen to them for my own reasons, but not very much. You know, sometimes a song or two, or some of them I made up to remind me to never forget of a mindset, kind of like a dream machine. It's really hard to explain. Alpha wave generator, but put me right back in this zone, uh, some state that I was in. But you know, I can't really get out. Like, see, before a long time ago, I don't know if I brought this up one time when we talked on my show, but a long time ago, if I wanted to be some time traveling Inca fucking multi-dimensional know-it-all, right, on the outskirts of society, right, zoning out, making some big message for people, then nobody could stop me in the whole world. But now I got a kid, and evidently the Germans can stop me anytime I feel like it.
So you feel more vulnerable now.
It isn't that. It's just like I need to stop myself.
Mm.
You know, you got to be responsible. And it's not even that crazy. It's just crazy compared to other things, I guess, because most people just absolutely conform to certain things.
But that doesn't change your creativity. Does that just change how you
Well, I've
talk?
been taking a break on creativity. I've been trying to work on a few things because I wanted to release this song I did in Poland a while back. I tried to mix it. It's so fucking heavy. I don't know what to do. And because of the lockdown, Andrea's in Liverpool to get this A/B, because I think that people would just laugh at my take on what the heaviest sound in the universe is.
Yeah.
It is pretty. It's mighty the way it is, but there's just that whole other level that you get by being able to tweak it in. Because I mix like King Tubby, and the world's just so far past that. I mean, has its magic. But
So is this heavy in a dub way or heavy in a rock way? Or
it has elements, but I mean, there's a lot of distortion. There's a lot of distortion. It's detuned. It's just straight ahead.
Mm.
You know, I wrote this whole thing a few weeks ago, like Rubber Soul and Revolver, and then just dropped it like a hammer and went back to my early days writing style just to see what would happen or what was in my mind. And now I'm just like thinking.
So when you go that heavy, are you thinking like terms of Sun O live? Would you be in that kind of territory? Or
We played this song live, and it just devastates people.
yeah,
You know, it's detuned. Like I started playing detuned music probably before Sonic Youth because I got some guitars when I was about 6 or 7, and they stayed in tune for about 2 days. And after that, I was
you couldn't
imagine
learn how to tune them. Yeah,
no, so I was imaginary slide, tune them all up like a sitar, and go for it with your thumb. And just get
yeah.
weird with melodies and stuff. So I've been doing that for my whole life, and and it's valid too. We know that it's valid, but so I always whip that out, even if I'm playing 2 chords. Sometimes just because people are always like, "What's that distortion you're using?" I'm like, "Nothing. I play like 3 strings with my one finger like this,
Yeah.
loop to loops on one note."
It's all the
But
resonance of each string.
it's just some weirdness. It's just a complete overload. But and then I feel weird, like putting out music. I was gonna try and I'm trying to do this stuff with Nori. We want to do a crypto release, like a crypto. They're doing this crypto art movement, or trying to. So I'm thinking about doing a video, getting in on the ground floor of that.
Mm.
But it's all messed up. So we'll see. My
Because of
friends.
the situation now.
No, just because I sent it to Liverpool. She's doing the Bunnymen right now. We'll see if she gets around to it this week.
Mm.
I really want to go over there and get a Defender.
A Fender or a
Defender 90.
yeah.
Jeep.
Yeah.
Perfect car for the end of the world.
Yeah.
Just fuck off and drive to Africa and play with lions and stuff.
You can't escape the end though. If it's the end of the world, wherever you go is the end. You just
But
have to
it's slow motion apocalypse, so you might as well stretch out and explore the space.
soundtrack it.
See, there you go again. I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do about that stuff because I feel that if you go backwards through my music and you're smart about it, you'll see that I knew some things were happening the whole time, and they relate. They relate to every single thing that's going on or has been going on for a very long time. There's a very good grasp of it.
I often wondered that. My generation, probably yours as well, the post-punk, whatever, dystopian vision of the future, then dystopia actually arrived. And then everybody started panicking. You're thinking, well, you've been wishing for this for 40 years or willing it in a sense.
Some of the shit was very old plans that people had. You can't sniff at the Tavistock and all this other crap. I was raised Mormon for a little while. I had people whispering in my ear. I grew up around lots of people in the CIA whose parents were in it. People would shoot the shit with me when I was a teenager, telling me about this, that, and the other to watch out for in life, as it would end up being that way. And so I ended up listening to between Christians and every single thing else in astrology, which is the study of the end times.
Yeah.
Listening to BBC and shit around the clock for basically my whole life. BBC, TV, news, just waiting for to see like a clock to see what time it actually was. Now I don't got to do that anymore because I kind of tell pretty easily. It's absolutely clear to me. But right now, I just think the important thing is that we all provide comfort to each other because there's not that much more that we can do. You can assist people that are by you. Simple shit, right? Help out where you can.
Do you not see music as being the glue between whatever fragments or small communities of free thinkers are actually left out there?
It is and it isn't, but because breadcrumbs, right? It's like breadcrumbs in the forest.
Lisa's breadcrumbs.
Hansel and Gretel, right? Leaving breadcrumbs to not get lost. You got Bob Dylan and all these people in history leaving out breadcrumbs for other people to pick up on. A lot of great thinkers, orators. You know, they'll talk about all these different events in history and art or whatever, and the shit that resonates, you catch it, and you're supposed to do some research. Or you're supposed to be a dumb shit and just not even succeed in any way in life because you got no chance.
Do you think that maybe you've been taken up the wrong road? Maybe the people running things were happy for all these people to become musicians and potter around in music for years.
I don't think they're happy people to begin with. I mean, you look at these people like going to military school or whatever the fuck, private school, getting beat, no relationship with their family, being far away, sometimes screwed with only the promise that they're if they shut up, they get the chance to do the same. The story is like so old. I'm sorry if it's so like crass or uncouth, but then you get people, civic-minded people that care about people and just try and work within the thing that they have to make things better or look out for their people. And even that's getting shot to pieces now, because everybody's calling anybody jerk, traitor, and all this stuff, right? It's gone so far beyond civil. But like music, there's people like Mark Twain and these old guys in America, these simple people that you just try and relate to other people, and somehow that makes things better, because you understand that they got it hard, even if you're making a buck being a writer or whatever. There's lots of people like that too, and some people take it all the way, like Woody Guthrie or Billy Bragg. I think he loves people, but I think he loves politics. Does he write more songs about living life too? Because that's also political. Politics is like policy. His policy should be take Sunday off, take a walk in the park.
Well, that's the thing about the best political music suggests things by the sound of it, or the idea that there's something else. It doesn't have to actually state it in the lyrics, does it? It's not. It doesn't have to. A manifesto doesn't always work, even with the best cause in the world.
You shouldn't give a good goddamn. I mean, basically, you should go for it. And get better as you go along. We love the underdog. I dislike people that don't. You have to believe that some people are gonna rise above, but you want to do something for the people that will figure it out. You can't worry about everybody who doesn't figure it out. I mean, that'll get you down in and of itself, I think. But and you can't worry about everybody else, even though you do, because I remember hating Van Halen and every other fucking thing in the whole world, and just going, why the hell is Motley Crue and all this crap everywhere, and something great can't be anywhere?
Yeah.
But all that stuff comes and goes in a certain respect, but you got to really make a difference, I think, by doing something great, by hanging in there. If that's what you feel called to do, I mean, if you feel driven to do that, but you always have to be aware, because people row their boats endlessly with holes in them, and then they just sink. You got to bail water. You got to do whatever you're going to do to get there, and you might get shipwrecked. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen, but you have to just have that determination, like those people do in life, when you read stories about crazy ass shit,
Mm.
about people being like Somali guys being caught captive on a tanker and being chucked off the side in the middle of the ocean and just treading as their friends are just dying, swimming. And you're like, I didn't know, but I didn't want to die, so I kept swimming. Just like 40 miles, right? In the middle of the water, these guys, these heroes from the war, they got sunk like twice in the Mediterranean, swam all the way to shore. Everybody being eaten by sharks, and they just like, well, I just swam 40 miles and then walked 100 kilometers with no water in the desert in North Africa. It's just like, they're the stories, you know, they're just mad. You got to be like that or not.
Do you find being creative is almost like a meditative process for you?
Yeah. The world is batshit crazy, and people have always told me to meditate and just finding your space and hanging on to that somehow is a meditation in and of itself. That it's great. But you know, people are going to tell you that there's greater levels where you detach from that.
Can it be as simple as you pick up a guitar and play an A minor, and your mind just goes right into the suggestion of the melodies, harmonies, and all the worries of the world just disappear for that brief moment?
Well, music can be that the magic machine that I love when I hurt so much and that I make something up and then other people don't get that out of it. They find relief and comfort. So I find that to be a beautiful thing and worthwhile because one, I feel better for about 15 minutes for making something up, and then I feel better for a few minutes sharing it, and a few minutes after I come up with a real good cover that I like for that minute, and after it's in production, and if somebody writes about it for a day, but that people still find it worthwhile years later, then all that stuff can make you feel good for a couple minutes, and that's good. But it means something to other people, which is great. And the fact that that can be timeless is something that's really cool because I watch everybody miss that boat for lots of different reasons. Some things are timeless, and even when the artists don't see it that way, the laws are timeless, right? That record is timeless. And then you got he doesn't think so. He was just like had a fit, and that was it, right?
There's a fascinating thing about music, isn't it? It's like I always think if you see a photograph of a band from 1966, they could be in
Mm.
any year ever, but if you look at the cars and the background, it completely puts it in that year. And it's the same with the music. You know, like a classic Stones record sounds modern now, and a modern
Yeah.
record sounds modern now. They don't seem to have a time scale, do they?
I love garage music, and I really think the convenience-oriented approaches are weak. And I think those jazz bands are fucking amazing. You know, we were just talking about they were talking about Miles Davis's first record because the drummer just passed away or something. I mean, this stuff is amazing that'll be there, but I mean, that's not for everyone. But a lot of the stuff is the garage music is an amazing thing to have happen. They don't call it garage music in the UK, but those guys who are getting the upstairs of a pub someplace to practice and all that stuff.
Yeah, because
Some of
it's
that's
so organic. It's so of its that
so
moment.
real, man. It's so real. It was so real. It isn't so real now, but it was so real.
It's that moment of freedom, I think. You know that moment when music's so all-consuming when you're
You
young.
take that leap. You take that leap. You
Mm.
know, and it taps in with people that are trying to get the fuck away, man. You got to remember when you're in your bedsit or before that, when you're in your parents' house, and you want to get away, and you want to figure it out, and you can't. And a lot of elite people don't have that because they're being pushed, you know, and they got the safety net and all that shit. But the rest, and they got the connection for the job, the interview, and all that shit dialed in. So they don't got that. But there's that other level. I'm not saying you can't tap into something real, but working class and below class and just forgotten class and all that other stuff, shantytown and fucking Kingston and whatever, it's that feeling that you're just like, you're gonna do it, or you got to do it. You got no place to fall. It's so, even Dylan, if you think about where he was from, right? If you think about someplace in Duluth, Minnesota, I don't know if you've ever been out those places.
I've been to Minnesota.
But it's a farm community that you blow through or you drive by, right? You just see some farm, like, you just see like 20,000 people or something, right? Some crisscross the streets, right? Rain towers hanging out, right? Some shit like that. And you're just like, dude, I got to do this. So you just go to New York City or Boston or wherever the fuck you went, Chicago, I don't know. And it lights a fire under your ass because you don't ever want to go back home where you know everything.
That drive is fascinating.
Like I left home too, I can never go back. It doesn't exist. Everybody's dead.
Is that because you created, that's like Jim Morrison. Is that because you created another world and the world you're in before it is dead, isn't it?
Well, yeah, the world's horrible to begin with. So you just got to go out there and do it and fight to change it in your dreams and all that stuff. It's so important. It's so important that people have that. You just trying to get a validation from Big Daddy White Dick money from a label, so you're in Kensington and you walk past Warner Brothers and you look at, Liam laughing at his brother in some giant painting in that lobby or something. That's what you want, your goal, right? A couple divorces, it's a big house in Hampstead Heath or whatever you're into. I mean, and a lot of people really, they go after the football dream and that stuff, but there's got to be more to it, man. The original shit that propelled you out of that stuff. See, I don't think that was their original motivation, absolutely, of those guys getting out of Manchester.
I think it was that. I also think it was just, they thought the escape was living in Hampstead. But I think the actual drive to make the music.
You would know more than me.
Yeah. I think that they were.
But it was get the fuck away.
Yeah.
They were painting the pictures of going big, 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 right?
I think that was part of the adrenaline rush, I think.
I know a lot of people, man. Like I was different than the Dandies. Those guys wanted to go big like Duran Duran, And I was like, I'm just going to stand here and say no. Watch what happens. But I knew, but I knew because I don't care. I don't fucking care about what anybody says. And I watch everybody come up and go down. I watch everybody do that. So I thought it was cuter just to be like, fuck this shit all the way.
Well, it's always been a mistake to measure worth by sales.
But you got to take the long view of the things, because we look at everything happened. It's just everything is a mockery. Lady Gaga added a billion fucking views to YouTube by a hack, inside by hook or by crook. Every one of those counted as a percentage of a sale, and it was just fucking somebody pressing a key, some commas.
You don't find it? Sometimes I think it's a victory when the good stuff actually gets into the top. Not to validate, but to just get
up on it, because everybody thinks what they think is good, and I gotta be in my own realm. But yeah, of course, and that's how I felt about the Smiths, and look what happened with that. The Smiths were fucking fantastic. See, it was fantastic for what it was, even with all its like their arrogance or whatever. It was just like it was like coming up after the Bunnymen hit, then the Smiths hit, Right as the Bunnymen kind of were starting to go like this, the Smiths were.
The Bunnymen didn't want it. They preferred the cult thing, and the Smiths wanted the big thing.
Bunnymen went for it with Lips Like Sugar and all that stuff. I'm not going to get into it, but they went in with it, playing with Ray Manzarek. They were just hanging out with Steve Stein is a kiss of death.
They could have been you. They could have been you too.
Only the band that U2 could have been.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't even understand all that shit. I don't understand what it means, because the amount of distance between being a folk person and trying to make it up being some Angelina Jolie with a fucking guy, you know, just like, here, I'm the UN ambassador for bullshit or whatever the fuck it is, which I'm not banging on Charity, but it's all I'm more into resonating with people, and you could do the Charity and not make it. See, because Charity, for me, a lot of mystical people that I've studied and stuff, you're supposed to do that anonymously. I mean, you can encourage everybody, but you really got to pull your weight when you're not asked. It's like when the spirit strikes you, that you fucking just, that you are like the fucking hand of God or something, right?
Yeah, it should never be a PR.
I don't even care. I'll give money sometimes to people fucking sitting there with a bottle in their hand, or sometimes a lot of times when they're just collecting cans, because I know that they're working for it. But I just walk by and put it in their hand without letting them see me. It has nothing to do with me, you know? It's just knowing.
Well, there shouldn't even be charity. That's the bottom line. You know, why we pay? Why are they expecting the public to pay for things when corporations pay for them?
Well, it's ideally everybody should pull their weight, and especially if now that corporations are people supposedly, but ideally every entity should do what is within their means to help each other, because we're only as strong as the weak among us. Everything becomes a problem when you don't attempt to address the problem. Whether it's, you know what I mean? That's why we have these problems, is because they are ignored. I feel
we let them get away with it, but they know there's nothing we can do. They've got us.
But just on every level, it's just like when people in governments or anybody neglect all this shit, and it becomes an issue. I think now we're seeing just crazy times. The amount of stress on food banks is just unbelievable in these nations that I respect, or did respect, or still do in some ways, but it's just unimaginable, you know, for them to count themselves.
We get used to it. It becomes normal, which is
but we can't have giving fatigue, because this we got to go backwards. This is going to be the fucking hardest thing you've ever seen. If you thought the high street was fucking a nightmare, man, you haven't seen shit. And if you think you're going to walk down the street with your fucking iPhone, with millions of people in the UK out of jobs and not get jacked, you're fucking out of your head. I don't care if you got a mohawk or a fucking trihawk, or it doesn't matter. If somebody's quick and hungry, they're going to fucking be yanking anything down to fucking cash savers that you can imagine. I don't care if you're a builder and you're lucky enough to got your fucking Makita saw. It's going to be your fucking grand's flat and her purse and her new broken hip. It's going to be everything you can imagine if it's not addressed. That we're going to see all that stuff. They're already talking about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. This part's weird. It's like the holding of the breath, the pause, isn't it?
Well, I want to be focusing on all the great things that people do to each other, for each other. You know, that's what I want to see. See, I don't want to see people dressed up in various shades of black with masks doing Molotov cocktails and shit. Police being ordered out to get fucking burned and shoot people, or crazy shit like in America where they just have like Ohio TV or something of everybody pulling out their guns shooting black people. Let that roll onto fucking airways for a day or two when the riots break out. Just go, see, you should be afraid to go out looting. You don't want to see that. You know what I mean? I don't want to see that. I don't want to even live in a world where that happened or will happen more. And or the South Africa model. What are they going to do? Wait until 20% of the population that doesn't have a pass or hasn't caught COVID lives in some bubbles, some crazy shit.
Or the other way around, the people with COVID are in the bubbles.
Financial shit, everything, right?
We talk about that already.
New London.
Yeah, the rich live in the germ-free communities.
Well, that's what New Zealand's about. Secrets of the Beehive. It's like, okay, look, we've moved down here. There's all this kind of fucking shit. That was amazing with the COVID shit. All the different places that these rich fucks and people thought that they were going to go run and hide to. Costa Rica, they're flying American plane. I follow the State Department on Twitter. Oh, the last plane is ready to go. All these people thought they would live down in Belize because people speak English. The healthcare system just collapsed immediately. It's like, oh, the wrong place to have my yacht. Everybody's fucking got no food. There's no way to grow it. And here comes hurricane season. Fuck.
Yeah.
All those planes flying to all those countries all over the world, even Ecuador. And they just, I don't know if you saw it, but they were just like, I don't want to spread anything, but they were just like blocking the runways and letting these planes get low and shooting them down and crashing and just looting them. All these rich people thinking they were going to go to their like place in this wherever and blow it over. In
the end, you're better off in the middle of the city. That's the irony.
This is only the beginning, but what I'm saying is like all those yachts and everything, people trying to pull up places. It's crazy times. I'm telling you, people don't want that stuff. We'll see. It did get crazy. They kept a sort of a hammer on it internationally news-wise. Thank goodness, because I didn't want to see that hacking news webcams and the endless reports. RT was on it a little bit, I think. This shit makes me mental hospital ready.
Thank God for music then.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I want to get back to.
Have you been working on anything at all, or you just wait?
Yeah, well, I try and work 6 days a week.
Do you do it? Is it like Nick Cave? Well, he makes it up, but that idea of sitting in your office, you clock in and see what comes.
Different animals. See, he writes even on a plane, like lyrics and stuff, and he has all these talented people that, evidently from the beginning, from the bad season, all that stuff, knew the score about being interchangeable army for the ends to support his talent. I fucking write a lot of music, so we're completely different animals,
So do you sit there? So when you're on a plane, are you sort of singing into your phone all the time?
No, but sometimes I do make a lot of music in my head. It just when it comes forth and how crazy it is, trying to document it one way or another, rushing to a studio to do it.
So you have to remember it then.
Yeah. Wow. I just try my best. I try and keep it in appropriate times. It's interesting when I'm playing music live, I write music quite often. When I'm supposed to be doing something else, it starts at sound check and then it just gets worse at the concerts because I just wish I was doing something else. So I'll actually be singing, playing guitar, and then writing a song in my head.
Yeah. So when you're actually playing music, it makes you more creative because you're in that side of your head.
Whenever I'm moving, walking, a lot of times, if I'm in the mindset, it's the best, But even when I used to work as a teenager on something, at a job or something, I would be making up. Your hands are moving, your body's moving. You're trying to not get your fucking hands cut off by the saw or whatever you're dealing with, and you're just sitting there writing a song. It's kind of like Joy Division or whatever. Anything that's taking you away, it could be. But
you start.
There's the showing off type of writing songs, like some girl will say, why don't people write songs like Syd Barrett anymore? And you go, oh, but they do. And you just like, wham,
Yeah.
Those are when there's jerks doing it, You see somebody like at a party. I used to see them when I was a younger, noodling. They pick up a guitar annoyingly, and they're just playing some like scale. And you're like, give me that thing. And you play like 10 songs in A in a row, singing. Just like they don't even understand it as music, let alone they don't have any songs.
Because they're not musical, they're doing it as a mathematical exercise, which is
Something that I don't need. I don't
yeah.
need anything to do with them.
You can make up a song just by starting to sing. The idea is the key, isn't it?
Did you get a degree before you set up being you?
No,
Yeah.
no, I was already in it.
I always say to those people that thought they were going to go to uni and get some like verification, like a validation, and then they were going to go out and do their band.
I know. I was 16, got into punk, went to Polytechnic for a year, then just dropped out and just carried on the band thing.
Yeah, I always just like those people. I like the people that went to art school or did whatever they did, got the job, and then they're like, okay, I have to decide between the band and fucking everything up, and then they just go for it all the way. I have more respect for those people, the Pink Floyd type.
Well, they were looking at Sid in the band, weren't they, at that time?
They just go to the edge of the cliff and just jump. Mm-hmm. This band thing, I think it's quite cool. But the fire under your ass is a good way to go if people have that.
I think it's
I found.
I think one part's having the idea, the second part's finishing the idea off.
It's just got to resonate as real somehow. You've got to, like I said, you have to be a good judge. It's like drummers, man. Every drummer in the world wants to be in some fucking lollipop democracy where everybody gets along and it feels good and all this shit. And then they play till they're 30 and sell all their gear because their wife needs a new countertop. And it just happens. It's like everybody, you get together with their mates or some shit and do whatever in their 40s or 50s. But I think that you got to really go for it. It's the best way to go for it. And like I said, you got to be a judge about bailing water in your boat because it's going to sink no matter what. It doesn't matter what you want. You got to see whether it's seaworthy. And people just some people follow bad dreams too far with bad names for their band and making shit that nobody wants and then tying their ego up into that. When you really got to I've been really big on my label after dealing with people. I'm like, fuck your name. Let's just make a really good cover because I believe in this music and I'm not going to be able to argue into you changing your name. So let's just not even have the name on the cover and just make a really good cover and a great record. And just trying to explain to people like it's impossible to get past anyone. They don't have time. They don't have time to check out anything, or they won't. Not the guy that works at a record store that looks like 1,000 new releases with bad covers and bad names, and he doesn't even listen to the Spotify. So it's just this big, never-ending thing just to get past them to make some imaginary thing that's going to attract this imaginary record buyer that has to choose between this and the reissue of Led Zeppelin's 3. And that happens every single time with a limited amount of stock.
The tsunami of music.
And now, Amazon's not even ordering vinyl anymore. They're not even ordering new music stock because every fucker in the world tried to liquidate all their shit through Amazon. So that just shot the whole record industry in the foot because everybody was counting on repressing everything they had and that Amazon would buy some and that it would be a tax write-off for them to burn the plates and get all that shit back. So they just killed all of it at once.
Well, they should just
there's only one test plate factory on Earth. It's in Japan, and they're not taking any new clients to sell anymore.
But that's just change, isn't it? That's things change, and music's always been. It was 78s, then it was 45s.
Dub plates are bitching, and also analog is fucking great. So vinyl records are cool. MP3s and streaming are bullshit. They always have been so far. That's what we know. And Spotify's collection of it leaves a lot to want. compared to like actual recorded music, because they have secondary recordings a lot of the times. When I try to look for my DJ set, it's not amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not an amazing experience. And I understand it's convenient and beautiful for people, but I mean, there's more to life than that. I plan to continue making stuff as long as I can make it.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, you created a space to be creative, haven't you? Which is, I guess, that's the ultimate aim for any artist.
Yeah, well, I try and share it, but times are changing. We'll see what happens, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know what will happen. I mean, I hope the best for everyone, especially the shops, because I love little shops. They've always been a place for communities, and you know that if you have a, I don't know if you buy vinyl, you got some, but
yeah.
you have some mates that have shops, and you talk places, and they're places where people connect, you know, and not just when they're cafes too, but in every city that has one in the UK, or certainly where my group travels, we hit these places up, you know, and we shop there too. You know, I got a ton of vinyl. Yeah. Everywhere, really, but that's not even all. I just and those are important, you know. That's important. More people go to those than libraries, probably. And it's more important than the function that it serves to some kid dreaming about getting a Brit Award or whatever, Mercury. It's the connection that you make. Even miserable fuckers that work at those shops are kind of endearing. Yeah. And I see them all over the place.
The same miserable fucker all over the world, isn't it?
There's definitely a type, right?
It's funny.
But yeah, all those places. I hope that, you know, I want to see people still dream and have those shops and stuff, because they're cool. And I spend a lot of time hanging out. And I buy vinyl for my kid because this is really cool, and it's a format that you can hang on to. And I've got all these battery operated record players that I buy. They're this size, see?
Yeah.
These speakers, the Philips Jobs.
That's nice.
Stereo.
Yeah.
And I bought him one, and they're great. And your favorite DJ will be nothing after World War III, because they're working on a solar cell.
Yeah, the world will be destroyed, but still you can just go to the park.
The cockroach is having a rave, right?
Yeah. Oh, brilliant, Anton. I bet I've got to go now because I've got to go do another interview at 1:30.
That's cool. I got to do my shit too.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your time.
I hope it wasn't too somber, but these are somber times.
No, I think it's great. It's great when people, you know, don't want glib showbiz talk. It's got to be the real deal, isn't it?
It takes all types. I think you get a lot of honesty out of people. You know what I mean, John? You're a real deal. So I think people are real, you know. But the thing that I don't like is everybody just the covert hawking their wares all the time, you know, because the people that think I'm a prick or whatever don't understand. That's fine, man. That's nothing new, right? But the people that get it, they're going to check it out. The people that already got it are going to go right on. There he goes, still keeping real. Yeah. So, you know, it's worth my time, you know.
You can only be who you are. You don't have to apologize, you know.
Well, also, I appreciate everything that you do. You know, you give an outlet for writers, which for me, that's like more important than even your dream, is like other people get to do the thing. It's like my label. It's the same kind of thing. It's sort of a pain in my ass, but it's worth it because it's an ecosystem. So you follow that model, whether you're aware of it or not. You're like creating an environment where people write and read literature, or this magazine that you do, and you do it in print media. So helps out a print shop and the craft that goes involved that people have been doing for 1,000 years now. Pamphlets, not 1,000, but for a fucking long time, right? People making pamphlets and this kind of thing. So it's all really good stuff, and I just hope we can find a way to keep it going.
We will, because that's what we do.
Right on.
Yeah.
You look after yourself, okay?
Yeah, you do, Anton. And maybe virus pending, I might be in Berlin in October.
Right on. Well, I hope to see you.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm hoping to, as soon as they don't have the 14-day thing, I'm planning to pick up a left-hand drive UK car and make it my, because I got my company. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I run it out of the UK, but it's going to be my company car.
Well, if you're in Manchester, we'll have a socially distanced cup of tea.
That'd be great. Come button up.
Yeah, freezing and 10 feet apart.
Okay.
Nice one, Anton. Okay.
Cheers.
All right, look after yourself, yeah? See ya.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Yeah. You have to switch it off.